The Navajo, who were named by Spanish missionaries, called themselves the Diné, or the people. They migrated a millennium ago to what we now call Utah, Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico. They originally came from north central Canada. Like nearly all native peoples in America, they were nearly wiped out by new diseases introduced by the arriving Europeans. It's likely that the Navajo, like so many other tribes, experienced this wave of plague through transmission and contact with other afflicted tribes. Modern estimations place the population of Americas about 100 million people pre contact with the Europeans. Post contact, about 90 to 95 of that number would perish, nearly because of the diseases. In our modern world, we call this the Great Dying, and the Navajo share this history with all of the other tribes. After the region was made a part of the New England Territory in 1846, clashes touched off between settlers and the Navajo for the intervening 20 years, culminating in the Long Walk. In 1864, the U.S. Army forced thousands of families living in eastern New Mexico to walk for about 300 miles to Fort Sumter in the central New Mexico area. They were, they were kept prisoners until 1868. The United States did not provide enough food, shelter, or livestock to sustain this population. They did not protect the Navajo from the American settlers who would occasionally raid the internment camps. 3,000 to 5,000 people died as a result. The suffering only ended in 1868 when the Treaty of Bosque Redondo was negotiated between Navajo leaders and the United States government, allowing the surviving Navajos to return to the reservation on a point of their former homeland. Since then, the Navajo have survived on their reservation. The Navajo endured countless cruelties on the boarding schools set up by the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Within the schools, draconian punishments would be dealt to young Navajos who attempted to speak their language or wear their traditional dress. This forced assimilation is considered by some to be a form of ethnic cleansing, but it did not succeed in erasing the Navajo language and many aspects of their culture. Despite a century of subjugation faced at the hands of the United States Army, many young Navajo would famously serve as code talkers in World War II. This encapsulates their role in American history, like so many other tribes. The Navajo were first warred traded with the Americans, were then subjugated, dispossessed, faced assimilation and ethnic cleansing, and came out the other side as American citizens. The modern Navajo Nation, like many other recognized tribes, is a domestic dependent nation. The nation has its inherent sovereignty to govern its own internal affairs, manage its tribal owned lands, enforce its own laws, and operate tribal courts. This is a complex system of treaties and internal politics. Uniquely, their lineage is traced through mother, not by the father, and the husbands reside within the wife's family. D.Y. Begay. She's a fifth generation weaver. The yarn she spins is made of both natural fibers found on the reservation and the controversial brighter colors found off the reservation. Her horizontal motifs through her work replicate the vistas she's seen her whole life. In the past decade, this piece, along with many others, was shown at the Denver Art Museum in Colorado. The Navajo peoples are both in critical they're in a both critical and a unique position. Indigenous peoples as a whole face complex, contextual, historic trauma. They experience a psychological dichotomy intertwined with their ancestral connection and oppressive subjugation from the occupying country, the United States. For many Navajo, navigating systemic inequalities comes as easily as the sun rising, but carrying the burden comes at a cost. Racism has increased distress because of the cumulative, relentless subjugation. Native Americans report experiencing serious psychological distress 2.5 times more likely than the general US population. The Navajo are still faced with the stalemate: be exploited and assimilate into the United States government, or actively engage in their culture, which serves as the ultimate form of resistance. Thank you. Thanks for listening.